Hey everyone, it's Alex here, and on today's episode of the YaBonks Show, I have a special guest with us today. I have Danny from MDB, who you might remember from two of my previous AMAs, and he comes on my weekly live shows all the time. Thanks for joining me here today. Danny, do you want to say hi to the audience?
Hi everyone. Hello if you're new, and hello again if you've seen us before.
And we have a lot of news regarding MDB that I think it's important we cover. You released a lot of big information on Austin Clark's live stream on Twitter the other day about what's coming with your front end DApp Xenia, and you
Yep.
have a Xenia 2.0 coming out with four major new features that are going to make life easier for people like me who are in there clicking around every single day. And then you also have a new service, the NFT as a service, that you're going to be offering as well. And then I also want to kind of touch on the Sentinel Squadron NFTs that you released with EMP Money, with AJ, and how I just want to touch on how that's going for people who have been following that. And I have 9 of those still, and they're printing. So, all right, Danny, where do you want to start? Do you want to start with Xenia 2.0?
Yeah, let's kick off with Xenia 2.0. And I think there's an important piece of context as well, right? That MDB is what does sustainable mean? Sustainable means that we're not reliant. Volume helps our system, but we're not reliant on it. It doesn't have to happen. The system that we have is completely deflationary. Has always been deflationary. We cannot mint supply, and there's no emissions or anything like that. All of the tokens that you receive on the Xenia platform for either staking or farming or expanding it out, all of those come within the ecosystem. It's all very organic. And actually, when you're a very happy farmer, obviously, YaBonks, because you've been in the farm for quite a while, and
Yeah.
it's always it's paid twice today, I think. Oops, sorry, don't want to do it the wrong way around. But so the farm's always pumping out rewards. But the really interesting thing about our system, which maybe is not easy to see from the outside, is that for every dollar YaBonks gets, the trust fund gets $2, right? So every dollar that's paid out in rewards, there's 2 times that amount goes into the fund, is invested, and then the interest from that. And there's already, at one point today with BNB, like there was like 2.6 million we had in the fund. It was pumping, but so
Yeah.
it's very sustainable, right? We're not creating these tokens out of thin air. They come from the volume, and then actually when we pay you, we pay the insurance fund, if you like, for the ecosystem twice as much as we pay everybody else, right? So whilst the rewards are very juicy, at the same time, it's almost like, it's like you got your wages when you're young and you take a bit for yourself and maybe you give the rest to somebody a bit more responsible. That's basically the MDB ecosystem.
And it's interesting to simplify it down to that level with the reward system. I actually
Yeah,
didn't know that you were taking double the rewards that you're paying out and putting that back into the
yeah,
backing of the entire ecosystem. I know
yeah.
you're always like touting that, we're at 500% collateral for our liquidity in the treasury and the Phoenix fund and all that. And that's an interesting thing you described, though. Like every one that you pay out to the reward.
And we don't push it enough. We need this week. We're going to do, if we're self-critical, there's probably some really bite-sized messages about MDB which I think get lost, and we
Yeah.
we really need. You're absolutely right. We need to push them because it's normally in a system people are like, okay, well, I'm getting rewards. Well, is it going to dilute the asset? Right? Are you giving
Right.
me this one MDB? And actually, the amount of MDB in supply is going up, and there's nothing to back it, and eventually, Danny sells before your bonks' MDB isn't worth anything, or vice versa. Your bonk sells before me, and yeah, it was great getting the rewards, but actually, your bonks has kind of sunk the value of my asset. The whole point of our system is that the rewards come from the volume. So actually, if I sell, my rewards pay my fees pay your rewards, and then actually 2 times the reward goes into the fund, almost like a backing. So
So you get a
it can't get much more sustainable than that.
so with 2 times the rewards coming back to the ecosystem and the
Yeah,
protocol, that ensures that one of those MDB tokens will be able to be set aside for future rewards for other stakers, liquidity farmers, NFT
Yeah.
holders, however, and then
Well, they're
the other
sold
one,
actually.
what's
They're
that?
sold. Yeah, they're sold actually. It's
Hmm.
not it's not a case of like we just sort of move the tokens around.
Okay.
We actually liquidate those tokens that go to the fund, and then they're invested in, like, we've got like yield farming, bots, a whole range of different assets, some just basic stables, our own stable backed assets. And then the interest from those investments is used to buy back MDB. So the idea is that there's always less tokens in supply, and the amount of funds backing the tokens that you have is increasing. One's going down, the other's going up. Divided one by the other is, over time it's an exponential increase. To put it into perspective, when we launched, we had 1 billion tokens and 1.5 million in the main fund, and today we have about 2.4 million in the main fund and 860 million tokens. So you divide one by the other, then it's more, it just gets more sustainable, and the value increases over time. That's the idea.
Awesome. Well, that sounds cool, and I think it has a lot to do with the chart that you have in this bear market compared to just about every other DeFi protocol out here right now, where yours is kind of just stair stepping on up to the right. And I think that's because with that system, it's creating a floor that is an actual floor, not like we hear that term thrown around a lot, price floor, and especially with things like, God, I don't even want to say, when we have liquidity managers out here and those are getting drained, and it kind of just obscures and obfuscates what's actually happening on the back end to the normal trader. But if you know how to look in those contracts, you can see like the actual funds are going down, where
Yeah.
you don't have any of that. Like your price action is very clear, and as you said, if it draws down 90%, that's actually the healthiest thing that could happen for the protocol long term. Although it might, scare people at the time, long term you said that's the best thing actually that could happen. So that's an
Yeah.
interesting situation you've created
It's
here.
actually a really, really basic system. I think it's a good analogy. I think if you think, I suppose where projects normally run into trouble will be because the gold that they've got in the vault is going down, and the number of tickets to that vault is going up, right? So there's more people
Yeah.
turning up wanting a piece of less gold. Whereas in our system, the idea is that the amount of gold in the vault increases, and the amount of tickets to get into that vault is decreasing all of the time. And yeah,
And so
it's actually,
you guys are not minting any more MDB
we
tokens,
can't
right?
we can't.
Yeah.
It's impossible. We can't do it.
So that's a new concept out here in DeFi. Everybody's like, oh, constantly minting your emission token, and what's your emission rate? What's your inflation rate? And you're actually a deflationary
Oh.
ecosystem at the core. So,
Yeah,
uh,
which creates more buy pressure, right? We'll talk a bit about the NFTs in a bit, but if our protocol needs supply, whether it's for a Gravity, whether it's for an NFT project, or whatever that is, there's only one way of getting it. Is the protocol itself has to go out onto the open market and buy it at market rates. So it means that the asset has inherent demand as well as inherent backing behind it as well.
good to know. Good to know, especially with what just happened with FTX and Binance. I think what was it? FTX was not solvent anymore, and then Binance came in and said they'll buy them up and collateralize them one for one, and that's why we saw this crazy pump all across the markets, including BNB, and then
Yeah.
obviously the excitement. It's dropped back down since then, but
Yeah.
that just shows the importance, especially in terms of community sentiment. It is to actually have stuff backing your assets, which brings me to the next point. MDB Plus and Phoenix Plus are fully collateralized with BUSD, and in the Xenia app, you are going to be releasing something here shortly, I believe, that would
Yeah.
allow somebody, if they get infernoed out of the Phoenix Plus game, I like to
Yeah.
call it a game. It's cool.
Yeah.
You could actually have it so it automatically puts them back into it. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. That's one of sort of like four major updates actually. So Xenia 2.0 will be going live on the 17th of November, and the four major updates. Number one is automated Phoenix Plus. So there's a sort of a 2% buy and sell tax, but 3% if you get Inferno. So the contract can push you out into MDB Plus, right? So we can't access your funds, but we can redeem you into MDB Plus. And so you would just have MDB Plus in your wallet where there was Phoenix Plus before. And so it is random whether it catches you. It typically picks up about 1 in 25, it's a bit longer at the moment, 1 in 30 chance. But then at the moment, you have to then manually take that from MDB Plus into BUSD, into BNB, and then back into Phoenix Plus. And we're finding that discourages people, right?
I didn't jump back into it, so I got infernoed out finally after I made like 20 or 30%. I sat in that thing for months, or like a month and a half, maybe a month, and I got infernoed out. And then I was just like, I'll just sit in MDB Plus for a while, and I didn't jump back in. But if you had that option, I totally would have ticked that box to auto put me back in there.
Yeah, and I suppose, look, this is the evolution, but it's good for you because you're instantly back in, instantly making that APY again, which is insane, right? For you to make, I think you made what, 20, like you say, over 20% in like 6 weeks or something.
So it was crazy. It was wild,
on 100% backed, a BUSD backed token, you made 20% in 6 weeks. So yeah, it's good for you, but it's also good for the protocol because as soon as you go back in, then it's more volume and it's more APY. So massive change. It won't be on Phoenix Plus, it'll be on MDB Plus. So you kind of set it to auto, and what that means is that when you get cashed out, then you've given Xenia permission to say, we'll take that MDB Plus, throw it automatically back into Phoenix Plus, and then that means that you can kind of like dump in there. It's the stable backed system, 100% back plus $1 at all times, and that's it. You're just churning through earning some cash.
Cool. I like that, and I actually spent that MDB Plus that I got from the Phoenix Plus Inferno process, and I used that to buy all the Sentinel Squadron NFTs. If you watched my 6-hour live stream in real time, I was like selling my MDB Plus to buy these NFTs, and it was ugly. It was a mess. I was just like, I need more capital.
Is that you and the cool thing about MDB Plus, we forked it with permission. We paid them a management fee, so credit to XUSD. It's their innovation, but we built a little twist on top of it, and to kind of make it our own. Just a little tweak on top. But the good thing is that you selling that MDB Plus actually pushes up the price for other people. It doesn't send it down. So, but you selling is a good thing.
Yeah, I know, and I'm like, dang it, I'm selling, and other people are going to get the gain from this. Yeah. So I've recognized that at this point, and same with Phoenix Plus. When people sell out of that, the Phoenix Plus thing goes crazy. That percent. Reward on it is wild. I mean, I got into that at like $1.14, and I think I got infernoed out at like $1.48, 49, something like that. Insane. And now it's what at $1.51.5.
Yeah. It can only go up. It'll only ever go up, right?
Right. And MDB Plus, meanwhile, is at $1.20, and I think I got into that initially at like $1.07 or $1.09, something like that. Maybe $1.14. It's all confusing. A lot of time has gone by in DeFi time since then. But
so I was just thinking about something, but I can't say it.
What's that?
It's some alpha. I thought, can I say the alpha? And I can't do it.
Come on.
So Xenia, that's 1 of 4.
Austin got some alpha on his channel. Help all YaBonks out here, man.
Okay. Well, I think we've got a longer term plan because there's a lot of moving parts in the ecosystem to provide potentially provide like an ETF where it will auto execute all of your strategies across at least 3 tokens. And so it would auto deposit in Phoenix Plus. It would actually sell MDB as well. It will stake, and it will auto sell your MDB in line with the burn rate also. So a very clever way of profiting without reducing your share of supply. But it's but much more. There's a little snippet of alpha, and I can't say much more than that.
So very cool. It sounds like you're doing a lot of building to automate the things that
Yeah.
people do every day in here, moving the things around between MDB, Infinity, MDB Plus, and Phoenix Plus.
Yeah.
So okay,
Yeah.
so we got the one part of Xenia 2.0, the Phoenix Plus
Yeah.
automation strategy with MDB Plus. What else are you bringing to the table with Xenia 2.0?
So number two, because three and four are quite, are in a similar track. So is that we'll have a swapper on Xenia, so you can swap between any token in the ecosystem. One thing on Phoenix
Nice.
Plus, I forgot to mention as well, because you manually move from MDB Plus back to Phoenix Plus, you have to go BUSD, BNB, Phoenix Plus. In the new system where you can set the auto feature, it will go MDB Plus BUSD Phoenix Plus because it will use the mint function in the contract. So that the point is it will be more efficient from an APY perspective. It will save 0.3% every time you're infernoed actually. So over a year, if you left the money in there for a year, that'll make some difference actually on a stable backed asset. But
Hmm.
so the other thing is this reminded me. So we'll have a swapper on Xenia. You can swap from any token to any token on the platform. So
Nice.
you say, I want to go from MDB to MDB Plus, from MDB Plus to MDB. So there's a nice dip on MDB. I want some of that. I'm going to go from Phoenix Plus into MDB. You can just do that. Just pick one and the other, and it will manage all of the transactions in the background to move you across.
Awesome. I would have used that so many times by now. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. It seems like it's going to be very helpful. And because to me it is so many extra steps to, sell whatever to BNB or
Yeah.
BUSD, then I go to like, you know,
Yeah.
bogged finance and then I swap that for BNB or BUSD and then I come back and then I
Yeah.
have to go to like pancake swap and make my liquidity. Are you going to allow with that swapper people to zap in to the MDB/BNB LP staking farm?
We're looking at a zapper, but we don't want to delay. So if we can add a zap feature, then we will look at it.
Okay, so that's potentially coming down the road.
Well, it might be in the update, but I don't want to say it. I think it's a great suggestion. It's something that will be much easier if you can just go boom and you're in, right? And I think that's what Xenia 2.0 is all about. It's about adding automation, making it really easy to use, really intuitive, and encouraging people to put in and make the most benefit. And yeah, it's like I say, it's not good for the ecosystem when you get this apathy because you've got to manually do stuff. It's not actually good
Yes.
for the holder because you're missing out on APY whilst maybe you're sat in the wrong place. And you look back and you wish you'd done it earlier. I've done it myself, right? I also put my stables in Phoenix Plus, and then I've been cashed out, and I'll do it today. I'll do it tomorrow. And before I know it, I've missed out on 3 days worth of APY, and over a year that'll make quite a big difference. So yeah,
And
absolutely, we're definitely looking at that.
and your swapper, you said potentially could save you like 0.03% in like the stable backed assets. And it's funny because in traditional stable coin farming and DeFi, 0.03% oftentimes is like a really great like APY or yearly reward like that people would get, or like daily, I guess. So 0.3% is like a kind of a big deal on
Yeah,
stable farming.
if you compound that, considering sort of our stable backed assets have been delivering anywhere up to sort of anywhere between 5 and 10 times what you would get farming BUSD on say PCS,
Yeah.
and it's arguably even safer, right? Even though PCS has got billions of TVL and there's no question marks about them, this BUSD is locked in the contract and it's completely unreachable by anybody but
It's
yourself.
it's decentralized. It's in a smart contract that's not going
Exactly. We
to
can't access the BUSD.
right.
Yeah, only the person who's only the owner is someone who owns the MDB Plus or
And,
Phoenix Plus token. But yeah, you're right. That 0.3, that transaction, say you were Inferno once a month for a year, you
oof.
compound that. You're probably talking about 5% APY. And find me a BUSD farm that will pay you 5%. Let alone just that efficiency change will add 5% to an already insane APY.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what just that little efficiency change would add on what you would get in a normal stable farm for like the whole year. So that's kind of
Easy,
cool that
easy.
you found an efficiency like that in your system, just in the swapping, automating some of that in a contract. So very cool. Also, I just want to point out, now I don't want to FUD or like throw shade on any other projects or whatever, but like if you heard what happened with, what was it, USD Plus, they had their collateral for their ever appreciating stable backed coin. Uh, they had their collateral in Equinox Dex, a balancer
Yeah,
Dex, which was managed by another team. And I know their team and everything. I've worked with them before, and like I don't have any issues with that team. But something happened. This is DeFi.
yeah,
There was an issue with the tech where they called the wrong function when they were trying to change the gauge, the voting pools for how the rewards are paid out on certain. Anyway, it affected their stablecoin farm. So their stablecoin farm that had like hundreds of thousands of dollars of stablecoin liquidity. I think like 400,000 of that was USD pluses that was supposed to
yeah,
back their asset. Because it
yes,
was controlled by another team, not in a smart contract, and like it's unaccessible at this point. Hopefully they figure it out and they get it back out. You know, they're working with the Balancer Dex team and developers to figure out if there's another way to get it out. But that's one of the risks of having a stable coin backed asset
yep,
like you have, and having that collateral elsewhere other than directly in the decentralized, trustless, immutable smart contract that manages that whole thing.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you know, I really, you know, I've even dropped Max a message from overnight. I really feel for those guys. It's, you know,
I
super
like
tough
I
scenario.
like him too. You know, he's a nice
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, he's a great guy. So it's really tough. But you know, a fact of life is that if your capital is somewhere else earning money, then that presents another degree of risk, no matter if it's really, really small, right? And the problem is, if you're only making 8%, 10% a year, you know, it's going to take you 10 years to cover every event like that. It's really hard. And this isn't about USD Plus, right? This is just a fact of life. We saw it with, you know, Terra Luna and all that stuff that happened there.
Yep.
And we were seeing it right before CZ jumped in today. Mim was depegged.
Yeah.
Did you see that? So
I heard.
yeah, because that 15% of their collateral's FTX. So
Yeah.
it's a degree of risk back in, you know, if the cash is put somewhere else. And we always get the question, because at the moment we've got about 1.3, 1.4 million of BUSD sat in those two smart contracts. And you know, it's always tempting to say, could you partner with a lending platform who's just going to give you another 5%, or but
Yeah.
it does, if you do that, it does add a degree of risk. Obviously, with our contracts, the BUSD is visible in the contract, and there's only one way you can get it out.
Yeah, and that's something I always warn people. They're like, "Oh, why don't you put that treasury to work doing this and that and this?" I'm like, "Well, if you do that, like you're exposing your entire protocol to a bunch of risk, and you know you really need to manage risk reward there if it makes sense for your project." Now, what else do you have coming for Xenia 2.0?
But look, and again, you know, on reflection, we've kind of built as we've gone along, but we haven't. Let me give you an example. So, three YouTubers. There's you, there's Austin, there's James, right? Uh, Neither James or Austin have ever been in the farm. They've never been in the farm. Now, if I'm
Stop, dude.
critical,
You told me on our first AMA, you're like, you want to be in the farm, and I'm just like, not financial advice, but okay, click. And I,
yeah,
dude, it's been my best position this whole year, honestly.
ever,
In all of the, well,
ever.
don't I YOLO'd on a few pumps, but anyway, that's been my most consistent like DeFi farming play by far.
It's mathematically speaking, it's very hard for it to lose money. I mean, you see there's a lot of farms, right? The APYs are silly, but then the backing asset sort of like falls off a cliff, and
Yeah,
like, okay, well, I've got millions more of this that's now worth nothing, and it's very difficult for that to happen in our ecosystem because the APY is very high, and you would obviously it's paired with BNB at the moment, and you'd have to see a level of depreciation for that level of depreciation to be greater than the APY it's paying you in the farm. it would have to be like a fundamental sort of breakdown in our ecosystem. Our token, because as you know from the mechanics, it's very difficult for our token to go down 90% in value,
Right.
for example. So so the farm. So my example is, so James and Austin, fantastic investors and great friends of ours, haven't been in the farm, and you have been in the farm. Now I would take that, actually that's on us, because that shows that we probably need to do a better job. It's great for the protocol to incentivize liquidity, and it's probably been the best performing farm in the industry in the last 4 months, right? As well as the best performing stable backed assets in the industry. So the farm is becoming front and center. So we're adding auto compounding farm for MDB BNB.
Awesome.
That charges 1% service fee, which is very small. I think people like Beefy maybe is 3%. So it's a 1% service fee, very small, and all of that is burned. All of that MDB will be burned. Okay, so you'll see actually the burn of MDB going on a daily basis now, rather than bigger burns like we do. You'll see that number just always depreciating. As you know, there's only 860 million tokens left already, so that's really cool. And to add to that, drum roll, which you heard yesterday, we'll be adding MDB plus MDB auto compounding farm, which is, a lot of our holders already own both, so they'll be able to just whack it in the farm and earn fantastic rewards. It is quite expensive to go in the farm, being very open. So a lot of farms, the APY pumps, people go in, then the APY drops. Our system, you do have to pay a tax on your MDB to go in, but that protects it. It stops people going in when the volume's high and then killing YaBonks' APY and then shooting off when the volume's low. So and that's why we've been sort of on average between 130 and 220% APY for 4 months, right? Straight. So in a bear market. So so we're going to have auto compounding farms, MDB plus, MDB, and BNB, MDB. It's going to be insane.
So that's interesting. You're going to roll out an MDB / MDB plus LP farm. Is that right?
Absolutely.
So you're going to have liquidity for MDB paired with MDB plus so you're going to have MDB also with stable backed liquidity, and then you're going to have MDB still paired with BNB for liquidity.
Yeah. And it's part of a much. So a lot of people don't realize this, because you look on DEX, right, and you look MDB and you find the first pair. We actually have 2 pools. And those pools are now equal 50. Well, they're not equal on DEX because you've got staked LP on the BNB side, but no staked LP on the MDB plus side. But protocol owned liquidity, we're actually 50-50. We're 50% on MDB plus, we're 50% on BNB. So that gives us more price stability. It means it gives us a lot of ARB opportunity as well. I think our protocol made, because people will say, where's your real revenue? Our protocol made about $300 today with all of the volatility on BNB, just ARBing the movement between the 2 pools. So we're kind of making money just by the market moving. Our bots are making money for us. And the so you'll be able to add to that liquidity, and this is part of a much bigger strategy, which is really important. So we really want the farms to be front and center. We want it to be easy, high. It's already crazy high APY, but we want it to be low effort and high APY. We want to incentivize more liquidity into the protocol, and because more staked liquidity will be on the MDB plus side, it also increases our price stability over time. And then depending on how big that sort of TVL gets, that will then lead us strategically in the future to that will give us more freedom actually for options to incentivize liquidity even more. So there's a bit of this is the first step. If the TVL doesn't boom, then it's just additional service for our existing investors. If the TVL, say, maybe doubled in the farms, it would really change the nature of our protocol, and we would then be able to release more capital to incentivize more liquidity. It's a bit of a cyclical effect that potentially this could start off. So long and short, farms are good. You won't get better APY anywhere, not financial advice, and it'll be auto compounding and burning MDB systematically.
Now, I will be frank with you. I don't advertise MDB / BNB farm as much as the other stuff that I talk about, because I don't want to get my position diluted, right? So when that Peasant for Hire, one of the whales in MDB, he knows what I'm talking about. we're always like,
Yeah.
don't tell people
They always
about
flood the
this
farm.
because I
They
don't want to
flood the
get that
farm.
the APY diluted it when the TVL goes up. And so
Yeah.
hopefully if we shine a light on this farm that's been performing so well for so many months now, like I said, it's my best performing. Don't take this away from me, Danny.
No, actually, this change will help because at the moment people are receiving MDB rewards and just accumulating them because it doesn't auto compound. Whereas this means that the auto farm will auto sell half of those rewards by MDB or by MDB Plus, depending which farm you're in. Which then there's obviously a tax on that transaction, which would be driving more volume, which would drive more. Perversely, it creates more rewards as well. So TVL is going up. There's more transaction volume, and then that's going to drive more rewards to the pool. But yeah, if you go into our community and you ask about the farm, there's like an 80% chance of people just tell you it's really bad, don't go in there, because they want to keep their APY healthy.
It reminds me of when people are like, should I move to Florida? And all the people who live down here in Florida are like, oh no, it's so hot and the mosquitoes, man, it's bad, it's terrible down here. And then we're just like, it's like beautiful and we love it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I feel with the MDB BNB farm. I don't want to see that APY go down from dilution, but
You
if
don't
you're
you
telling
don't want
me
cruise ships coming to your desert island.
no, I don't want any more traffic. I don't want like I live way out in the country too, so it's gonna take a while for people to get to me. The growth of the urban and suburban environments. But hopefully MDB BNB with all these cool changes that you're gonna make to make it easier for people to manage isn't going to take away from my awesome rewards that I've been getting, because I have been stacking up MDB and I've been just waiting for the right opportunity to take that MDB that I've gathered up and then basically pair it with BNB and then stick more into the farm. I'm just waiting on timing of things and I've been just doing that and compounding. So yeah, and I'm making like 20-30 bucks a day depending on how much churn you guys have, because as your volume goes up, the rewards getting paid out goes up. So if I see really crazy activity on MDB, I see my rewards, like I'll just log in because I know it's gonna be great, and then there's just like a pile of MDB waiting for me.
Yeah.
So all right.
Well, we've just literally, while she was saying that, the rewards have just triggered for the third time today. 1 to 2 is good. 3 is a good day, and it's just because our volume has been about 120k today. You've just seen rewards trigger for the third time today, paying out on the farm. So and that's why I suppose in our system it removes some of the anxiety around price to a certain degree, because you know that you've got this appreciating price floor because the supply is going down and the funds are going up. And that has a multiplier effect long term. But also you're earning, you're hustling. While you're working here, you're getting paid on Xenia.
I just refreshed and my balance in the reward pool has gone up. So that's pretty cool, man. Yeah, so and I know some people like Peasant for Hire, he's got like 5 or 6 times the position I have in there, and I don't even have that big of a position either. I've got like, it fluctuates between like $3,500 to $4,000 worth depending on the price values, but it's been just consistently like every day.
I think the other day he made like $800 in one day.
Dude, stop! That's crazy.
Yeah, he did, but he was in really early as well, so he's had 4 months of that just every single day. Yeah,
man, and I know like Austin, he's over 6x on his, because he got in at the beginning. I did not. He got in when you guys launched. He's over 6x up, and he's very happy with his position.
But he's not farming.
But he's not farming. I don't understand. Yeah. So that's awesome. And so we've got automated MDB BNB farm and MDB/MDB Plus farm coming.
Yep.
And what else? Any other additions to Xenia 2.0 that we can expect?
Yeah, and the swapper, automated Phoenix Plus, so you can set and forget and earn market leading. There is a little bit of risk with Phoenix Plus, I have to be like brutally honest, but it's just on probability. You'd have to be like extremely unlucky, because it could pick you up in 10 days, it could pick you up in 40 days, but mathematically, it's very hard to lose money on Phoenix Plus. And if you did, you'd be maybe, you'd be the unluckiest guy in the world to lose a few percent. But the probability is that you make, probably 20-30%. Some numbers we've looked at when the volume was fairly high was like 70% APY it was running at, including cash out. So it's so there is a lot going on.
Yeah. So yeah, and that's a good point. There is that little bit of risk with the Phoenix Plus, and that's why it's like, MDB Plus is your lower risk, stable backed, ever increasing fund, and then Phoenix Plus is like, if you want to get a little crazy with it, you can, and then you're exposed to that. It's like what, 2% in, 2% out, and then and then you're an MDB Plus. So MDB Plus has like 0.25% in,
0.75 in, 0.25 out.
Okay. So if you just like cash straight out of Phoenix Plus and then cash straight out of MDB Plus, if you got infernoed out, I should say, of Phoenix Plus into MDB Plus, and then you sold your MDB Plus, you're looking at what, a total of 5%?
6, because it's 3% if you get infernoed.
That's right.
Yeah.
But
the idea is that it pays something like 0.3% a day. If you go, it's probably slightly more than that, and on average you get 2 days grace actually. So the idea is that on average, at the moment, it's doing about 1 in 25. So but if it was 40 days, then your APY would go insane. But if you were unlucky and it was 15 days, then you might break even. But statistically speaking, everyone should be able to make money.
Good to know. So I just want to be clear.
It's paired with Infinity as well, remember. So the volume of Infinity is also driving the APY.
Yes, correct. And that is a whole another topic we won't even get into. Check out my last AMA with Danny, and it's all about Infinity. So check that out. It really breaks down how Infinity drives a lot of these other pieces as just like an additional engine in this whole ecosystem to drive volume, increase rewards all across the board, and add another layer of gamification and fun, especially for those of us who are a little more high risk and like to trade volatile assets. However, I am super emotional and not the best at trading high volatility assets, as I've come to learn over the last 16 years of my trading career. So what I like to do is stake things, and I went into Infinity early on, and I've just staked it, and I've left it, and I told myself, even when I'm way up, so I've just been, that plus my MDB/BNB farm have just been giving me MDB every day. So I've just been stacking up MDB, and I'm like, what do I do with it? And I know you're always telling me, take profit, sell. And I know that's what you want, because you want me to churn volume and get the taxes and all that to build up your protocol even more. But I ain't selling, and that's not financial advice. I am a degen to the max, everybody. So don't do what I do. Figure out your own strategies for stuff. But I've just been staking and holding, and then I'm planning on recompounding. My take profit strategy actually is the MDB BNB farm, because sometimes I'll take my MDB and turn it into MDB BNB, which means I'm taking half of my MDB and turning it into BNB. Yeah, there's a little impermanent loss over time, if I'm sitting in there and the price really fluctuates, but really like half of that is MDB that I've just been stacking up here. So really, I've got a really nice BNB position as well from all of these activities. Anyway, that's just my experience so far with how I've been playing this system. What do you think about that, Danny? What do you think about my strategy?
Yeah, I think it's really smart. Our system, ironically, I think maybe why tax tokens get a hard rap is because they really feed off volatility. So if you get a 30x and then you get a massive crash, the protocol really wins. Actually, that's the way it works mathematically. But there's a lot of people that bought in that top 50% right before it crashed, and they're down a lot, and they pay taxes. And if that token, continues to decline, or it doesn't, or it stays static then and doesn't, if you paid high taxes and it doesn't pay like any decent passive income, then you can, I mean, real passive income that's backed rather than, you know, just minting new tokens, then that's really tough. But it does accumulate a lot of value for the protocol. In our system, it's designed, we want you, you know, at the end of the day, the people that really understand the protocol, you know, are less concerned about price. Price helps, it helps everybody, and it is definitely important, but it's not something that you have to be, you know, you're making money two ways. When the price pumps and you're getting loads of rewards, then you double up. If the price comes down, you also get lots of rewards, and in fact, you know, the protocol, the price is even more sustainable the lower it is because of the ratios of the fund back in the
I've
LP.
noticed it like a slingshot. If there's like, when the price dips, it goes down, but my rewards go crazy, and then I like recompound those into the farm, and then when the price comes back up, it's like it goes up way higher, my total value from where I was before, and then there are even more rewards sitting there, and it's just like it's YaBonks to me, man. And I've been meaning to say that more in my videos. So and you hear people throwing around terms for other protocols like the flywheel effect, or like, you know, a slingshot, and I've actually kind of gotten a exposure to that kind of an effect in this protocol. It's very interesting. I love all of this like economic experimental stuff we're doing out here, especially when it's working in my favor. So let's hope that it keeps going that way. Knock on wood. I know I have wood around here somewhere. There we go. All right. So with all that being said, I just want to say, you were talking about tax-based protocols or tokens. You know, they worry about becoming stagnant and having no volume. I just want to point out from my last AMA with AJ about EMP and MDB's Sentinel Squadron NFTs, that we determined, well, he knew this the whole time, but I had my eureka moment when he told me that the automated buy pressure daily generated by the NFT system itself for the Sentinel Squadron NFTs creates like $3,000 to $5,000 approximately, you know, based on factors of buy pressure on MDB every single day. So that's like $90,000 to $150,000 of buy pressure a month. Floor, and it creates an effect called floor volume, right? You always hear floor price.
Yep.
This is actually a concept that I don't even know if anybody talks about this or if it's a real thing, but I said it's floor volume it gives you, which is exactly what is most beneficial for this type of a system, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And we're always working to try and find ways of driving volume appreciation of the asset, but also driving volume through the ecosystem. The EMP NFT does that beautifully. I think because even if, you know, I think it's been buying maybe on average between $3,000 and $5,000 a day of MDB every day systematically. And if all of the people that receive that MDB sell it, it's just helping, you know, it's helping the process, right? Where, you know, the funds go up, the supply comes down, albeit, you know, the market's just been crashing really heavily whilst we've been on here. Actually, after the humongous pump earlier, you've got
dear.
BTC down at like 18.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
That's slingshot effect from that volatility on the overall market. Yeah.
We're almost used to it now. I'm almost surprised when the market goes up. We launched a week before Terra Luna. We've only ever known torture, so we're pretty thick-skinned by now. But yeah, look, the NFT drives constant volume through the ecosystem, and we've got other things that do that as well, right? Infinity constantly buys MDB to reward stakers, and the fund itself is always accumulating to burn supply as well. So yeah, you've got these you know, mechanisms that are driven by external revenues, right?
Right.
Because they come from investment values, and they also come from sort of these partnerships. But
because you also get that effect from the Phoenix Fund, right? So like not Phoenix Plus. If you're new to all this and you haven't been around since the earlier days, Phoenix Plus is separate from the Phoenix Fund, which is like your capital that is earning yield, and a chunk of that yield goes back to constantly buying back MDB and burning it and paying out rewards and things like that, and then and then a chunk of it also goes back into that capital, creating a snowball effect. So it's like an ever increasing volume generator and burn engine for MDB, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
That's exactly how it works.
and a lot of people don't understand that. I see you arguing with people in Discord servers all across the internet trying to explain this, and a lot of people just don't get it. And you got to really sit down and either read the documentation or watch one of my long AMAs with you, where you really break it all down to figure out all these like pieces of the puzzle. But at
I
the end of
think
the
it's
day,
look, I think the people that understand it don't need to be told, and a lot of the people that just won't have it, I'm probably wasting my breath, to be honest. So I think it's we're fundamentally different to, say, people say about real world revenue, but we don't need any revenue. Actually, the system would eat itself over time. That is a
right.
that is or despite something cataclysmic happening, it's a mathematical sort of certainty. The question is how long, obviously, like with anything, but it's a mathematical certainty that the protocol would eat itself eventually over time.
And then all this building and all this marketing that you guys do is just pouring gasoline on that fire to speed up that
Exactly.
process, right?
Exactly.
So, all right,
Exactly. Exactly.
I know we're running short on time here. You wanted to talk about did we miss anything on Xenia 2.0?
Not at all. Just be there or be square. 17th of November.
17th of November, and then NFTX. So NFT as a service. Would you cover that real quick? You dropped this one
Yeah,
on us
we
on
didn't want to call
the
it NFT as a service because it's a little bit cliche. So we called it
yeah.
NFTX. And to give the background, we being very open, NFTs was never in our roadmap, and there was a lot of demand for an NFT. So we've had a couple of like small mints, but it's they're sort of complementary to our ecosystem. But that put us on a journey of like learning around how you could create clever tokenomics for NFTs so they generate passive income. We then went through a process of really learning the process, and we realized that launching an NFT is actually quite complex. You've got the marketing, you've got smart contracts, Web3. You've got the design work as well.
The
It's quite
secondary
multifaceted.
marketplaces and those relationships and
Yeah. It's a lot of stuff there, and then it's managing all of those things in itself is quite a skill. So if you're what we learned is because we weren't a protocol that was designed to launch an NFT, it wasn't in our original plan. We were like, okay, well, this is quite this, and we had to go through a really steep learning curve, but then we did several mints, and now we've got the experience and behind us. So we thought, well, maybe we could help other projects.
so why did you choose EMP Money as your first NFTX project?
Look, we were obviously completely flattered. I would say probably AJ chose us, and really, for that story that we described, there's a massive opportunity to include NFTs in their ecosystem, offer a passive income from them that's both sustainable for the ecosystem and also the holder. And but it's a lot to wrap your head around. So I've been we've worked with EMP on many different things, and we were absolutely delighted that they would work with us on this first. So I think 1.5 million. It was announced it was the largest ever NFT mint on BSC.
I recorded it all live to check it out on my channel. Record breaking event, and I caught it all on camera. Yeah. $1.5
yeah,
million dollars. No, that's the biggest mint on all of BNB Smart Chain to date, I think, right?
So I'm told. I haven't fact checked it myself, but enough people have been told me that, so I'm going to I'm repeating it. But yeah, no. So it was, and I think that's kind of what we're offering to other protocols. We're talking about industrializing that process at the moment, bringing someone on board who can go and sell that service to protocols. But it means that we can kind of pitch up, and out of the box, you've got design to mint, tokenomics, consultancy, project management, smart contracts, Web3, and we'll bring all of those services together because they all come from different places as well. And that's it's another driver for the protocol. It helps us from an exposure perspective, and also it's a skill set that we've got that we can commercialize.
Awesome. And I'm assuming that will be bringing additional revenue into the ecosystem to further support everything that's going on.
It's all about funds up, supply down. So anything that will
Awesome.
bring our funds up and burn supply, that's we're open to ideas.
Now, I know we've got to wrap it up here. We're going on about an hour now. So, are you allowed to reveal any potential upcoming NFTX partnerships that you haven't announced yet?
No, I don't. There's nothing. We're having conversations and we're looking to industrialize the process. It's not something you can do a lot of, actually. It's a lot of heavy lifting in the background.
Mhm.
So I think realistically, I think our probably capacity for the first few months is probably to do one a month. And then we would look to maybe industrialize that further, depending on sort of the success and the amount of opportunity that you see. We had this with the MDB Plus Alliance, where other projects use MDB Plus, and what we found quickly is you build a pipeline, and in this industry, 80% of your pipeline had gone bust before you'd finished the deal. So it was a lot of legwork and very little food at the end of that process. So so we have to kind of go into it with open eyes and see if we can sort of replicate the success that we had with EMP.
Awesome. And last thing I just want to ask, with how the Sentinel Squadron NFTs are going right now, what are your feelings on it? What are your thoughts on how it's going currently with those NFTs?
Yeah, I think it's been a fantastic success for EMP. I think it's huge amount of focus and hype when it's very difficult to get that in the current market, and it locks in a lot of value into their protocol and our protocol at the same time. So yeah, it's a fantastic success. I think the volume is very high on them as well, which I think is really good for the EMP protocol because it's used to then buy and burn EMP, which is really important to the long-term health of their protocol. So yeah, it's been a huge success, and definitely we're very happy that we were able to execute, and you got it 99% right, and move that forward. It's something that we've got a lot of experience in now, and we can cookie cutter that for other protocols and continue to build more sort of volume and revenue streams for the protocol.
Very cool. So I think that about wraps it up for today,
Good.
Danny. Thank you for joining me.
Little plug. Like and subscribe, YaBonks, right?
Like
And
and subscribe to the video. Yes.
go to mdb.fund as well. Go there,
Yeah.
have a look around. If you got any stables, I didn't say this on the Twitter Spaces yesterday. I was really upset. If you've got any stables, stop it. Just stop it. If you're stable farming anywhere, just stop it, right? Just take it, go to mdb.fund and decide, do you want Phoenix Plus? Maybe you want to wait for the 17th so you can get in the auto feature, or do you want MDB Plus? Stop putting your stables anywhere but in the MDB ecosystem. That's I feel very strongly about that. It's where my stables are. It's everybody's stables should be in there.
And not financial advice from the YaBonks channel. That's Danny's opinion. Whether I agree with it or not, I still have to say it's not financial advice, but I probably will be putting some back into Phoenix Plus here shortly once I make some more money. Now,
it's not financial advice. Remember, they're not. We say stable backed assets because they're smart contracts that have got BUSD locked in them. We don't actually have a stable asset, right? There isn't a stable asset. It's BUSD in a smart contract, right? So there's no. We're not selling any asset actually. It's just a smart contract service.
correct. And still, DeFi, it's the wild, wild west. You never know with technology. It changes so fast. Exploits happen on entire blockchain levels. So I always try to just don't ever go all in on anything. That's not financial advice either. Man, you see how they get you with all that stuff and the disclaimers. So
but you told me not to go all in on everything. If I'd gone all in on MDB Plus, I would have been fine. It's your fault.
And that's another thing. Come up with your own strategies, do your own research, and come up with your own risk reward tolerances and all that. Mine personally is to stay diversified, even in my stable coin exposure and all that. I do think BUSD personally is the strongest of the stable coins, which is what is backing and filling those smart contracts for MDB Plus and Phoenix Plus. So that's, in my opinion, a good choice on your end for going that route. Anyway, so with all those disclaimers being said, I just wanted to be clear. about all that. Thank you everybody for watching. And like Danny said, I don't self-promote enough in my own videos, so subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Click the like button on this video. It helps the YouTube algorithm. And click the notification bell if you want to get notified when these videos come out. And also check out mdb.fund and check out their Discord. I'll put the link in the description below. They have one of the healthiest Discord communities in this bear market. If you're used to vitriolic, aggressive banter and rhetoric, and you want something a little more fun and lighthearted where everybody's kind of seems to be doing well, check them out. They also have great goat pictures in their Discord, which I contribute to all the time with my rescue goats from the animal sanctuary. So yeah, check them out. Follow me on Twitter as well. I post a lot about this stuff on there. Let's see, anything else, Danny? Did I miss anything? Oh, leave a comment. So what do you like about MDB? What don't you like about MDB? Put it in the comments. Let's have a discussion. And also, if you're willing to share, what has been your strategy in MDB so far, and how has it been performing? So, all right, with that being said, thanks everyone for watching. Thank you, Danny. I know you got to get to your next meeting. Anything else you want to say to the audience?
No. Yeah, I agree completely. And yeah, check it out. Xenia mdb.fund. Stop getting hammered in this really difficult market and seek it out. You'll be very happy you did.
All right, good advice. Not financial advice, but it's good advice. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks, Danny. I'll catch you guys all next time. Bye.
Take care.